Do you like the color purple, Charles?
I love the color purple, honestly. I think it's a solid
Drop the
color.
enthusiasm, all right? I don't want to hear about your opinions on the color purple. Welcome, everyone, to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I am your co-host, Jake, with you always, with my co-host. I don't know what I'm saying.
Charles always, Charles Lung. And we're here to pitch a TV show. Is that right, Jake? I'm going to pitch a TV show, and you're going to poke holes in the TV show idea that I have. Does that sound like a good idea? Welcome, everyone, to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast, by the way.
I said that. We got that covered.
Did we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Maybe because you didn't say it. You didn't feel alive yet. So you can say it if you like. Say it now. Go.
Hello. Honestly, the best opener we've ever done. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am awful because you just stepped on my toes. I did the intro and then you just cut me off like that. I said I wanted you to do it, but I was just saying that to be nice. I didn't actually want you to do it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And I'm upset with you.
Well, I feel like that's our normal, standard operating procedure is you're upset with me.
Yeah, it works pretty well.
Yeah, because I'm always pushing you over.
The edge, literally.
Yeah.
We're standing on an edge right now. The mic is shoved. I have a lapel mic on, so that's why.
Yeah.
And his mic is shoved up his throat, so you're actually listening to his throat sounds. And he's holding me over the edge. I've only got one foot on, sort of like crooked on the edge.
And I'm holding you by your tie, and you're falling back.
My extremely loosened tie, like John Constantine in the TV show, to halfway down his shirt.
In that I've heard bad TV show, apparently. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I heard it's not great.
I haven't seen it.
I feel like it can't be
Got canceled after a season, so probably not great.
Not that great. And also, I don't think he smokes. I feel like you need...
Yeah, it's CW.
Exactly. You need him to smoke a little bit, right? That's what I feel. That's what I feel about John Constantine. He's got to smoke, because that's part of his character.
They don't want to convince the kids to smoke, though.
But he, gets cancer from smoking. That's one of the storylines, is him getting cancer from smoking. So I feel like that's a good enough, And also, John Constantine's a bad guy. Also, he was in a punk band when he was a kid called Mucous Membrane.
What a stupid name.
It's a bad name.
Almost as stupid as probably the title of your pilot.
Exactly, because the title of my pilot is... I haven't thought of a title for this one yet.
Oh, of course.
I have a story. I have a whole-ass pilot, a whole-ass series written down for you. So, this story follows a young woman by the name of Valerie Esposito. She is...
Valerie?
Valerie.
Are you really trampling on my naming conventions here?
We can change it if you want.
I'm kind of appalled, to be honest.
You know what? I'm gonna call her Valley.
You can call her Valerie, if you like, but I will be upset.
I'm calling her Valley.
I may sue.
Her name is Valley Esposito. And she is an optimistic and bright young woman with a disturbing family history. She has a doctorate. She's a doctor, MD, and she's working in a small town out in the outskirts of the American Midwest, right?
Oh. So,
I'm thinking New Mexico sort of situation. She is bubbly, nice, friendly, and completely straight edge. She does not like alcohol or any sort of, intoxicant whatsoever. And she wants to make the world a better place, but she wants to do it non-violently. She wants to use peace and love and being a doctor to make the world a better place.
I'm really wondering where the twist is coming here.
Well, the twist is I'm going to make a character that is the opposite of what all of my characters are, because pretty much all of the characters I make are men, typically, and they're shitheads. Because I think those people make for very interesting stories. But I wanted to make a character who's nice, So Valley Esposito. The story, the first episode starts with Valley. Her name is Valley now. It's not Valerie. I took the R out. It's Vallely. Valley. Yeah, that's it. Okay. It's weird.
Like a valley.
Yeah.
Like the thing.
Yes, exactly like that.
She got bullied in school, probably.
She definitely got bullied in school.
Your name's Valley?
Yes. Well, she didn't actually...
I don't know what the jokes would be, because I wasn't a bully, but we should talk to a bully. And
we should call up all the people that I bullied in high school.
Yeah, Charlie was a huge bully.
You could probably tell from my voice. I was the what do they call it? Quarterback? I couldn't remember the name.
Quarterback? Yeah, you could tell just by the fact that he remembers.
I was the quarterback of the football team. I was the
flag
best.
Football team.
Flag football team. I was the flag football team.
He was cut.
Yeah, it was great. And by quarterback, I mean I was the water boy. I was the, what did they call that? Because they had one person, the manager. I was the manager of the flag football team.
It's a good title.
Yeah. So that's the name of the show, manager of the flag football team.
God, I wish.
It's about Valley Esposito, a woman. She is working in a small desert town. You know, she's being a doctor. She's making friends. She's going on dates. She's just being a completely normal person. I want to use the opener as, I don't want to say things, but you're going to like go around her small... Yeah, I don't want to say things. Words are for nerds. It's exactly, it rhymes, so it has to be true. But she's, you know, we see inside her house, we see she's got some strange relics about her house. Like she's got a spooky mask that looks to be of African descent. She's got like all sorts of kind of strange, otherworldly artifacts and objects that are littered around her house that you wouldn't expect a young 20-something doctor to have. You know, so there's a little bit of sizzle, but we just, you know, show her in her normal life. She's working in the town, she's being a happy person, and all of a sudden, you know, a normal day is going by. She's working late in the clinic, and all of a sudden, a man stumbles into the clinic. He's been attacked by some sort of wild animal. And so Valley does her best to like patch him up. But you can tell she's not making anything. She's not saying to the other people in the clinic, but you can tell she's seen the kinds of wounds that he has before.
I see. Yeah, so she understands what it is. But no one else does. So she's just doing it by herself. You know, she's making sure that he's getting like a blood transfusion and like getting his wounds cleaned and everything. But she's obviously disturbed by what she sees, you know? And I'm thinking that this first episode can kind of be like an hour-long special, and then, you know, you trim down the next... And the rest of them are 2 minutes long, each episode. Just 2-minute snippets with 30-minute commercial breaks in between.
Exactly. Because welcome to television. The television of the future.
Yep.
So, Valley then sees in the distance, there's this sort of rumbling. You know, she can see, like, there's strange lights out into the desert, and there's, like, a dust cloud being kicked up. And she is scared. You can see in her eyes that she's scared of what's happening. But she's still, you know, she still cares about the people in the clinic and the people of the town, and she wants to make sure that everybody's safe. So she kind of takes charge. She has everybody in the clinic, you know, start putting up barricades, making sure that they're all safe. And we see in the town, you know, before, like, maybe we cut to the outskirts, there's some guy out in the, you know, wilderness getting drunk, shooting cans or whatever. And we just see him like, what the heck is, and then he's like ripped apart by these sort of half-human, half-animal monsters that seem to have like a rabid hunger that is kind of unexplained for now. But they've all got these chains around their neck with a symbol. It's like I haven't thought of the symbol exactly, but it's, you know, a weird kind of occult symbol. And so we see throughout the series, or throughout the episode, Valley is leading this kind of charge with the people in the clinic against these monsters that are attacking the town. So they're sieging the town. And she knows, you know, it's the middle of the night. She knows that by sun up, these creatures are going to be gone. So she just has to make sure that all these people survive the night. So, you know, we have maybe an action scene, you know, the monsters are getting in, we can introduce some characters, some people who are like worried and they don't trust Valley, but, you know, she proves herself to be the most capable person, because like maybe the sheriff is like attacked by one of these monsters and he's like shot it 6 times and he's, you know, unable to do anything with it. It's not stopped it. And she has a silver knife on her that she manages to throw right into the monster's eye and kill it, put it down, drop it. So the whole first episode is her leading this small group of survivors in the clinic, trying to stave off these monsters. You know, like some people die, some people live, but we find out that she picks up the pendant off one of the monsters and she looks at it and she explains to somebody. Maybe we have a character, I haven't thought of a name for him, but some guy who's like, Valley is like 28, this guy would be like 16, right? He's young.
Maybe it's like I don't know, some college students are doing like a internship or whatever how you do at hospitals, and he's like her assistant or something.
Yeah, and she says this, you know, this is the symbol of the Fastodians, which is a satanic cult.
The Custodians, yes.
The Fastodians, like Faust. First episode ends with the whole town, you know, is inside the clinic. The whole survivors are inside the clinic, and the sun comes up. And they're like, thank God. But Valley knows that these animals, these beasts that have attacked the town, they're not as stupid as they might appear. And after, you know, the first episode ends with the sun coming up and everyone's super happy, right? And she's like, you know, be wary, but we made it through. It's all good. And second episode turns out all of the vehicles in this small town have been destroyed. They're hundreds of miles away, or not hundreds of miles, they're dozens of miles away from the closest bit of civilization.
Yeah.
And so they are kind of screwed, right?
Long walk.
A long walk. So Valley, knowing that these monsters will be back by sundown, if they stay, knows that they have to get out of town, you know, and the only way they can do that is by just walking the whole way. So she goes to her town, she goes back to her house, and we like get some more of those weird artifacts. She gets like a few things, you know, maybe like a weapon of some description. I don't know what specifically. Maybe it was like we could do like a sword, right? But it's just the handle. And the blade is like invisible and intangible unless it comes in contact with true evil.
So right? Then as soon as she swings and hits something, it shows up like boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Like how humans view the weapons in Percy Jackson.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just a pen until it, you know, or
actually, click
it's a pen to them, but it's to humans, but to the monsters, it's a sword.
It's a spooky, scary sword.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the, you know, less trusting people in town decide, we're not gonna go with you, Valley. You know, you're crazy. You may know how to kill these monsters, but, you know, we're gonna stay here at the clinic, maybe a few...
This is our home, we can't leave.
That sort of situation. Maybe there's a few older people who just couldn't do a walk. So Valley and a few other people, including the 16-year-old or 18-year-old like college student person, all decide to venture through the desert back towards civilization. And, you know, I have sandworms and ghost bikers ensue. That's the description of the episode. So I'm imagining, you know, they're walking, and it's a sort of a situation where the further away from civilization you get, the more surreal and weird the sort of supernatural elements of this world become. Mm-hmm. Right? So in a city, you're not going to see a lot of supernatural stuff, but if you're just walking through the desert, you know, in the middle of the night, there's going to be weird things that you just see out in the wilderness, and maybe they could have like we could have like a caravan situation where like they can pass the ghosts of some like Oregon Trail style people who are in a caravan, and then we can get, you know, we just have some weird imagery, and then they get chased down by these ghost bikers, right? This gang of like Hell's Angels. They've all got the big beards and everything, but they're also like ghosts, and they got spooky green faces and all such nonsense.
Oh, green ghosts. Okay.
Yeah, green ghosts. That's sort of a fun situation. Okay. And so Valley is able to negotiate. She's like able to not trick them, but she is the only one who's able to maintain her composure enough to make a deal with these ghosts. Valley is able to negotiate a treaty with the ghost bikers that allows them to make it back to civilization. The bikers decide we'll protect them, but Valley has to give them something, like one of her ancient relics that she's got. And the second episode ends with them arriving at civilization, just as the sun's coming up, and we can have a cool shot where the like beams of sunlight, start streaking down over the town, and like where the beams of sunlight hit, the ghosts are starting to disappear. So we could just slowly watch the ghosts like fade back into, non-existence. And, they take the relic with them, It doesn't just fall to the ground, it, goes with them. It becomes a ghost thing. And so Valley is okay. She's happy, right? Because she's gotten all of these people safely to civilization. She tells them there's more people back at the town. They need help, send, some medical attention and stuff. And so she's like, great, that's good. I'm happy. But I need to go after this cult. Because the cult was coming for me. I know that for a fact. We still don't know why Valley is so knowledgeable about all of these weird ghost phenomenons, but she knows that cult was coming for her, and that's why she felt responsible for all of these people. And now that she's escapade, she's like, I need to hunt them down. I need to figure out why they're coming for me. Or not figure out why, but like stop them. So what should we name the college student? Give me a good name for him. Jan Gross. Jan Gross. Is that a good name? I'm gonna write it down.
What are you picturing him to look like? What's your mental image?
I'm imagining like kind of a short blonde guy. When you said Jan, I'm thinking maybe he's like German.
Yeah, I was just picking a random name.
Yeah.
So you're a short blonde guy.
Short blonde German like exchange student guy. I think that would be fun.
German? Because it makes it chaotic. And it's like, what? We got a German guy in the Midwest, New Mexico. Why the hell is he there? Why would he pick this random hospital in New Mexico to work for medical school? That doesn't make any sense. It's weird, strange.
I think that's kind of the whole vibe I'm going with for this show. Because I'm just trying to have as many weird, ghostly apparitions as possible, right?
I don't know. We could tie him in, too, because you could be like, the reason I came here is because I studied later you could somehow make this make sense. The reason he came here is because he studied magical happenings in Germany.
That could be fun.
Because he knew that's where that was. So it'd be like a big reveal later if you wanted to do something like that.
That he knew. That could be good.
That he knew, that's why he picked this hospital.
Yeah, but Valley and Jan get in a car together. Jan is like, you've saved my life like 3 times already over the past like 2 days. I'm going with you, So Valley's like, fine, you come with me, you come in at your own risk. I can't guarantee that you'll make it out of this alive. He's like, okay. So that's how the third episode starts, with them getting in a car, getting in some old jalopy, maybe. What kind of car? Should we do a cool car or a lame car?
1968 Fiero.
Is that a cool car or a lame car?
It's a lame car.
What if we got him like a Beetle? Like a classic, yellow Beetle. That could be fun.
A Beetle?
Yeah.
I feel like New Mexico, you want a top down,
Yeah, that is
want a
true.
Convertible. Something snazzy that they stole from a used car. A great red
shark. Yeah. Oh, they could steal a car. That would be fun, actually, if one of the people who stayed back in the town was like this rich guy who has like a whole bunch of cars. And
maybe he gave him a car, because she's nice, so she probably wouldn't want to steal.
Yeah.
So maybe he gives them a car.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's a rich guy, so nice. Maybe it's like a, red convertible.
Yeah, red convertible. It's got Sirius XM. It's got all the good radio stations.
Yeah.
Classic Sirius XM. And so there, they go out and they start driving out towards something. Valley hasn't told Jan what it is yet, but she's got this compass. It's sort of like a mystical kind of compass. I don't know how we
Jack Sparrow's in Pirates of the Caribbean always points to a specific place. Exactly. Not north, it does keeps going to that specific place.
It points to someone specific, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. So we get there, we do some, and I feel like this episode 3, will be much more of a self-contained adventure, because they get in the car and they start driving. They decide to stop out for a diner, stop at a diner and get a meal. And they go to the diner, they get a meal, they enjoy it. And then you can see that obviously something wrong with this diner. So they're tired, they're not really paying that much attention. And, eventually Valley kind of like picks up on the fact that stuff's not really exactly what she expects it to be.
You mean sort of like surreal? Not everything looks weird? Like the counter is dripping counter, big droplets of the counter's granite or whatever the hell it is, linoleum or something, is just like hitting the floor, like that kind of stuff, like sort of
that's sort
persistence
of
memory, Salvador Dali sort of thing.
Yeah, but like that's like happening out of like in the periphery, and like the people working there will be saying things that are just blatantly not true. Or maybe that, like, there's a guy who's been sitting at the counter and he's been having the same conversation, like saying the same 3 lines of
over and over again. It's a real
waitress.
Rotten day today.
Yeah.
Waitress, it certainly is, Bill. They said it in the beginning, and you just hear that in the background over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and
Jukebox plays the same song over and over and over again.
It's been stuck on like the same. It's stuck on, maybe what song would be good for it to be stuck on?
Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah, Cats in the that's a good idea. So we eventually see like Valley's like, they've taken a bite of their food. They're like, whoa. They're freaking out a little. They're not freaking out. They're just kind of like dazed. And Valley like rubs her hands together. Does some magic. I think she blows into her hands. Or blows like smoke or something. We don't see any smoke, and then she blows like glitter or smoke or something into Jan's eyes, and then like rubs it into her own. And then the magical haze of this diner is removed, and we see that it is all like corpses. The people who are serving the food are like corpses, skeletons walking about. The guy who's been sitting at the diner saying the same things, like this weird, like, fleshy meat skeleton man who's like fused to the diner seat and everything. No. Like, I want it to be a gross, weird kind of a situation. And then, Valley's like, whoa, we need to get out of here. So they try and like pay and leave. And, the waitress is like, no, we, just stay and sit for a little while.
Save for pie. Maybe she keeps mentioning the pie earlier in the Misty state. Mm-hmm. So now it sounds all gross when she says it. Oh, the pie.
Yeah. And we can always and then she gets a slice of pie, and it's like people pie. Like there's like eyeballs and fingers in the pie and
flies
and stuff
out of it.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And they're like, no, Valley uses her Invisa sword, slashes the ghost in half, busts open the window. I kind of want Valley to be sort of like the hero of this situation, of this, like, she's taking charge. She's doing all of the stuff, and Jan is just kind of sitting there bewildered. Mm-hmm. And she, busts out, gets out of the diner, they get in the car, and as they escape, they see that the ground begins to shake, right, and rumble, and a giant dog with the diner built into its back, like stands up out of the ground, and like begins to like bark and growl at them, and Valley's just like, we need to go now. And you know, she's like, let's get out of here. Jan's like, what's that? And she's like, it doesn't fucking matter, Jan, let's go. She's like starting the engine. You know, it stalls a little bit because it always has to. And, you know, they get driving, and we can have a cool chase sequence where this dog is just galloping down the street, and it's got this, you know, you can see the diner on its back, and like
shaking, popping up and down.
Yeah, and you can see like the ghosts and skeletons inside the diner are just waving and like beckoning them to come back in. And then, you know, maybe Valley pulls some magic nonsense out of her like back pocket. Maybe she's got a holy hand grenade, and she drops it and fucks him up. It fucks the dog up, and she's able to like get away. And as they're like driving away, episode 3 ends with Jan just being like, you need to tell me what your thing is, because you're just supposed to be this doctor. How do you know how to do all this stuff, you know? And so, episode 4...
She reveals at that moment that she's actually Doctor Who.
Oh, that would be good.
This is a BBC show, and you didn't even see it coming.
Exactly.
They're looking for a new doctor. Charlie's got it right here. I mean, he doesn't have the actor, but he has the story.
Yeah. We get him a TARDIS. Maybe she's got the TARDIS on like a keychain, like an Ant-Man. That would be fun. But episode 4 starts. They're riding, that sort of thing. And they start discussing backstory, you know, that sort of thing. So Valley begins to tell Jan of her tragic and mysterious past, in which her father was an occult hunter who worked for a government organization that we may have discussed in a prior episode of this very podcast.
Wait, my one?
No,
or did you have one?
This isn't a sequel to Occult Killers, but it's set in the same universe as Occult Killers.
Okay. Because I also had a magic organization for the government. And I was like, I was thinking of mine. Keep going though.
But her father is this like legendary demon slayer. He's the best, one of the best. And
his name was Jimmy King.
His name is Jimbo Slabbery. And he was the best that there ever was at this specific thing. And Valley's mother was a demon that her father fell in love with while on the job, and he refused to kill her. So he quit the biz and moved out into the wilderness with his wife and his daughter. And, you know, they were happy for a while. Valley was educated by her father in all the ways of demon slaying and monster killing, that sort of thing. She learned all sorts of cool ancient languages like Sumerian and Latin and all this stuff, you know? And they were happy for a time. But the mother, the demon's mother, or the demon's father, Valley's grandfather, who was one of the great lords of hell, decided one day that he required his granddaughter's soul, you know, because she's half human. So her soul is half human and half demon.
Oh,
and so
we're gonna have a Harry Potter thing here.
Yeah. In order to stop
her face. She's the girl who lived.
Yeah, she got a lightning strike across her face, and then she, you know, was able to have skills.
Make several movies
and just be the best. Never work for it. Just he happens to be magic, the best all the time. I don't like Harry Potter, but that's besides the point.
Okay.
I'll fight Harry Potter. I feel like I could beat up Harry Potter in real life.
Harry Potter or Daniel Radcliffe?
No, not Daniel Radcliffe. He seems like he's, you know, he might be Wolverine. You know, he's in pretty good shape. I feel like I could beat up Harry Potter though. Like
a kid Harry Potter, sure. But
even Harry Potter my age,
Harry Potter
I feel
with
like
magic would F you up.
I'd take the wand, I'd snap it in half, and then what's he gonna do?
Bring a gun.
Bring a gun.
Bullets are a lot faster than magic.
They are so much.
I've seen the movies.
What if I brought a sword? If I just sliced him?
I can't even hit you with magic.
If I got really close? If I just beat him up with like a baseball bat? That'd be pretty funny.
Let's go back to the thing. So,
but
you got Harry Potter girl.
Harry Potter girl, she's half demon, so her mother and father decide, like, we need to, save our daughter. So they entrust Valley with the government organization that her father had worked for decades. And they, like, do a final stand against her grandfather, against this great demon lord. And, in doing so, they mask Valley's, like, magical aura with their own. So that's the last Valley ever heard from her parents. Was her parents being ripped asunder by her grandfather. And presumably they were both horribly murdered and killed.
We all thought we had family problems.
Yeah, and she knows that this has something to do with that because no magical organization should have been able to find her because her scent, for lack of a better word, has been masked, Her magical aura has been completely, like, covered up. So the fact that the Festodians have found her is really the motivating factor behind her going after them, because she needs to know why.
And how.
So, yeah, and that's how episode 4 goes. It's kind of like a backstory heavy episode. We do a lot of flashbacks, that sort of thing. Do some car stuff. They're just, I don't think they're fighting any ghosts in this episode. Yeah, and then I have episode 5 through 9, I think, are just, we have adventures, they're just like cult adventures. They're following the compass.
Different monsters and stuff as they get to the end of the trail,
Yeah, so for episode 5, I have the idea that they, like, stumble into this town that's, like, out of the Middle Ages, right?
Oh.
It's like a medieval town, but it doesn't make any sense because they're in the American Midwest. But they have, like, this English medieval town that they stumble into, and they have to, like, slay a dragon, So I'm thinking we could do it
because the town is in the middle of the street, and they have to get to the other side. And the townspeople are like, the only way we'll let you across is if you slay the dragon.
Yeah. And also, I think that the town it's not actually populated by medieval people.
Oh.
It's like a Ren fair, and a witch who was burned in Salem gets mad whenever she sees Ren fairs because it's like all the people that fucking killed me, right? Like, so she magically transformed this town into this sort of medieval...
Oh, so she turned it into a real medieval town.
Yeah, so the population
I see. Okay.
don't actually know that they used to be standard normal people. They're just, like, living as if it's the medieval ages, but as soon as the dragon is slayed, the, like, curse is lifted. Yeah. And they're like, what? Like, where am I? Why am I married now? Why do I have 7 kids or whatever? I've got cholera, that sort of thing. Is cholera is not a medieval thing.
I don't know.
I don't think they had cholera.
Not a doctor, ask your character.
I'll ask my character.
It's under a letter.
Nope, it's not. I just asked. Yeah, I don't really have that many other ideas for fun towns and, like, little adventures they can go on. Obviously, we can, if there's, we could do more with the sandworms, right? From the first episode, or the second episode.
Yeah.
They're kind of, like, hinted at and stuff. Maybe there's a sandworm situation.
Because those are the people she gave the relic to, right? The sandworms? Or was that?
The ghost bikers she gave the relic to.
That's right. We should probably throw them back in again, because it's the relic,
Yeah. Maybe the relic is like it's an ancient cross that was used by Alexander Dumas. That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it would be funny. It would be fun if, like, at the end, when she's going to fight these, maybe in episode 7, she gets into, like, a scrap with the Festodians, the cult, and she is able to call upon the ghost bikers who just come up and, like, I like to think that these cult guys are not physically intimidating in any way, They're just, like, these skinny little dorks with their big hoods on and their robes and everything. And as soon as, like, they pull up as soon as they, like, are without their monsters and magic. They're just these fucking dorks. And so I think it would be fun if we had the ghost bikers just beat them up. Not like magically.
No, with fists, you know,
with
just
fists
punching
and chains
them,
and stuff. Yeah.
knocking them out.
And like there's just like just that one of them gets curb stomped. I think it would be funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Or maybe we could have like a secondary antagonist who's one of the cultists who gets like scarred by something that happened. And so he's got an extra hate on for Valley and Jan. So yeah, and I do have a what do you call it? A conclusion for all of this, but I'm wondering, do you have any other town ideas you want to do? You know? Because I'm thinking the show is kind of like comedic, but not a comedy. Like there's jokes and there's fun situations, but it's not. There's still like dead families and stuff like that. It's still sad to an extent and spooky. I'd like some spooky stuff.
I always like a Medusa villain.
Oh yeah.
So we can do something like that. Like we go into a small town where everyone's petrified. We're going through and we gotta find what the villain is. But it's gotta be something weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
previously we already did like a cat, like a cute cat, if you remember, as Medusa. So we can't do that. It's gotta be something horrific.
How about
maybe like a giant Cronenberg slug thing that you'll freeze when you look at. But it has like it's got multiple little heads, and only one of the heads will freeze you, and so you have to figure out which head it is
to cut it
before
off.
you go into the fight, so you know what to look at and to cut it off.
Wouldn't
and
it
maybe
be...
there's like someone in the town. There was like a demon slayer in the town before her, and this person was trying to kill the monster, the slug guy. We'll call him the slug.
The slug.
Maybe we'll come up with a better name. But and he leaves like hints and clues around the town because this demon slayer spent like weeks trying to figure out which head it was because he was being very careful. And eventually, the last clue is we'll find him dead. But his position will reveal. Maybe there's like a mirror that like reflects into like where the sleeping monster is.
Yeah.
And
or
it
like
will reveal which head it is that he looked at.
We could do like a what do you call it? Like a The Incredibles situation. Like you remember when Mr. Incredible dives into that cave and he finds the dead superhero, and he looks at like the wall in a certain way that the dead superhero did, and it's like he scrawled out the answer to the problem. We could do a situation like that. Would it be cool if...
Oh, that would be great, because then you could have it like, maybe like this hero in his dying, this demon slayer in his dying breath, right? Scrawled out the answer like in the blood of his hand on the wall, because it's not like an instant freeze like all of the Medusas are. It's like a slow stoning.
Slow and painful, yeah. Maybe this Medusa, instead of... It creates a stone shell, and the actual like meat of the person is added to the Cronenberg-y kind of situation. So it's got it each time it freezes somebody, it adds more mass and it adds another head. So it just makes it more and more difficult. And you can see like maybe throughout the thing you can see like the demon, or at the end you can see the demon slayer's head, and he's like just his face is in like a constant like horror. He's just like scared, screaming out of his mind, but he doesn't make any noise. And like she manages to slay it, and he's just like, "Thank you," and he, everyone dies. Right? I think that would be fun, and also a bit spooky because that town's just everyone's dead. Usually in a Medusa situation, when they kill the Medusa, the people get unfrozen. But I think it would be pretty cool if they think that's gonna happen. Like, that's what Valley assumes is gonna happen, and they all just, like, turn to dust and disappear. She's like, shit. That's just like, wow, that's like 50 people all dead. Dead. Not even like, wow. Huh. Well, you win some, you lose some. And you can maybe we could do, like, a sort of thing where Jan is, like, horrified, and Valley's just kind of, like, she's fallen back into her, like, demon-slaying childhood. so she's kind of lost a little bit of the empathy that she had worked so hard to like maintain when she was working as a doctor, right? That could be cool. And let's come up with one more household, one more spooky monster time. Ants. That would be good. Jan and Valley get kidnapped by this colony of ants.
Ants?
Ants. And they have like 1,000. There's like a giant civilization underground that are like, it's run by like this ant queen person. And, you know, we find out that all the ants, the ants are big, you know, and they're kind of like bipedal, but not all the way.
Yeah.
We find out that they're actually all like half human, half ants. They've been like kidnapping people and like forcibly transforming them into ant people. So like Valley could like slice one's head off and just like you see a human face just screaming inside of the ant body. And you're like, ugh. You know? It could be like a Circe situation from the Odyssey where she's just turning men into animals, that sort of thing. Yeah. And so there's like the adventures and all this stuff, and eventually they find out that they find the cult. They make it to the end. They make it to the cult, and I think maybe this is like a 2-episode special. You know, they get there, they fight their way into the cult headquarters, and like Valley's like, I've come to kill your leader. You know, I am angry about all this situations, whatever's happening here. You monsters are disrespecting the memory of my mother and my father who died for me. And we look over, and the leader of the cult, you know, this person who's been shrouded in mystery, maybe we've seen them looking through like not a crystal ball because that's lame, but like, you know, they have to slit somebody's throat, and then they look into the puddle of blood and they can see Valley. That could be cool. Yeah. And this person throws their hood up, and you find out it's actually Valley's mother. She wasn't killed by her father. She was turned into an even more demonous person. And her father, Valley's father, has been turned into this sort of mindless knight who fights only for the cult. So she comes into contact with this knight maybe in the first half of the episode, and he's like, he knows all her moves, and he's like kicking her ass and all sorts of stuff, but he's, you know, a faceless, masked sort of guy.
Well, you might want to introduce the knight like in the very beginning of the show, like on the pilot.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Maybe he's the knight's leading the charge of the horrible monsters in the pilot, and you know, he's the one who gets, you know, fucked over by Valley throughout the situation. And, you know, we think that this knight's got some sort of anger, hatred towards her, but it's like the inside, it's actually the father, what's left of his human soul fighting to, you know, keep his daughter safe. And so maybe what you see throughout the season, you think, oh, that knight just made a mistake. It's actually the father, you know, exerting what little will he has left over his body in order to like make sure that his daughter survives. And so the situation ends. The situation's like Valley has to like come to terms with the fact that her mother is still alive and her father's still alive, and you know, she's like distraught and she's captured, and Jan has to, you know, encourage her because he's like, listen, I know that this is a lot for you, but you're the strongest, most powerful person I've ever met. You've killed demons, you've fought a giant dog monster, you made friends with those bikers, you know, you're awesome. You can't be put down by this, you know, situation, because maybe her mother is like saying all sorts of things that she believes about herself, but will never say, you know, like stuff that she holds true in her soul that make her like less confident and that sort of thing. And he gives her a pep talk, and then we could have a cool sort of sword fight where Valley and her father are like cling clang clang clang, and while they're like sword fighting, they're also talking, and just as her father swings the sword down, he, realizes the error of his ways, and like he is able to regain control over his body, and that's when the blade, the one that she has, it becomes intangible again because he is no longer evil. So I think that would be a really cool shot if you had her like hold the blade up, and just as he's going to bring it down, he, slightly moves out of the way, and the blade just disappears and like goes through and lands on the ground, and then they're both like rad. They both look at each other and they know that it's time to go. So her father like rips the helmet off, and you see his face, and he's like horribly burned and scarred and fucked up. And so there's a big thing. They do a big fight, big stabby stab. The father puts a sword through his beautiful wife, his beautiful demon wife.
Jeez.
And the church is coming down, and Valley's like, "Dad, please come with me." And he's like, I can't. I've been dead for years now. And the last shot of him we see is he's kissing his wife, holding her and kissing her as like the flames of the church crumble down upon him, and he's like in the suit of armor, and the swords run through her,
just like how Game of Thrones should have ended.
Just like how Game of Thrones should have ended. And then we have a resolution scene where Valley is back home. She's back at the her New Mexico house. Jan has gone back to Germany. He's had enough of his American adventures. He wants to go back home. Mm-hmm. And we see, she gets back to her house. She's tired. She just wants to relax and everything. She sits down. She lays down on her bed, and we see this woman sitting in the corner of her room. And the light turns on. Valley's like, "What the heck?" And we recognize this person from the flashback. She was the government agent that Valley was entrusted with by her parents.
Oh shit! Is she Samuel Jacksoning this? Is this? Yeah. There was an idea.
And they're like, "Well, you see, we respected your decision not to take up your father's work, but you seem to have been doing pretty well by yourself. So, how would you like a job?"
She's in the corner, she's got a scotch in her hand, just like, I think he had a drink. I don't really remember the first Iron Man. It was a credit scene, but it's exactly that. And she's like, "How would you like to join the Avengers?" Oh wait, sorry. I mean, the occult killers. Yes.
Yeah, that'd be good. Right. That's the show. That's what I have.
I like it. It's good.
Yeah. Thank you. I was happy with that. I thought it wrapped up well.
I think so too.
And I want to get as much weird kind of ghost stuff as I can in this show, right? Because a lot of ghost media and like you watch a horror movie about a ghost, it's just some spooky lady in a big dress and she's running at you and she's going boogity boogity boo, or it's some spooky.
Yeah, it's all the same.
It sucks, and I'm like, no, let's have some pirate ghosts. Let's have a weird medieval town where the dragon's actually a woman who's like a horribly scarred person. Let's have a giant ant person, Let's do some weird stuff. So I think that's what I wanted to do with this show. I wanted to do like some weird. I love
the
stuff.
diner, the dog diner. Mm-hmm. Maybe that could be the name of it. It has like Fido's Diner or something like that. So it, sort of hints at the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And then has like open 24 hours. Maybe it's got to have some sort of sign that indicates that it's been open for like centuries.
Maybe we do it we could do it like dog years. So it's been open since like 1945, and then you have for however many years that is in dog years. That would be fun. So, because that'd be like 50 years or something.
Yeah.
And then however, like 50 times 7 is that, we could have a hints, and maybe the menus are all in black and white because dogs can't see color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's Yeah. I just had the idea of the thing actually being built into his back, but I think that's really cool.
I love that kind of thing. Like it just gets up and it's a huge dog.
Yeah.
They gotta race away in the cherry red convertible.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me has always been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Cloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, a subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your dog. Tell your big dog that's got a diner on its back and is in the ground. Tell them all about it. All right. And we will see you next week with a brand new pilot episode for a TV show.
Probably. Unless we die.
Unless we both get hit by cars. Or actually,
it has to be both of us too, because it's we've got this thing going on. It's sort of like an Achilles heel thing, but it's like tied to both of us. So you have to kill both of us at the same time.
Yeah, or neither of us
die.
Yeah. It makes it a lot easier because we live in this one confined space together.
Yeah, I mean, you just walk in here with a knife and you'd probably kill both of us. Not even a big knife, like a kitchen knife. Like, you know those kind that you can't even cut a steak with? You use it to cut,
dull kitchen knife, yeah.
Yeah, like a butter knife.
Or one of those bread knives, you know the knives they use for bread? Where it's like, it's really dull at the point, but it's like sharp on the edge?
Yeah, just
that
sort of hack
stitch
it at us. It will kill us both. We'll die.
Yeah. Alright. Bye.
Bye.